I greet you all in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm very saddened to be standing in front of you today, paying my final respects to Warwick Robert Stock. A part of what makes this a great tragedy is that I can count possibly on one hand the number of people who had as much potential as Warwick. And I know that by worldly standards, it may seem like he achieved a lot, but I'm here to tell you that what that guy was capable of, he probably didn't even reach a quarter of that potential. Warwick was discovered by a guy named Vukile Zondi, Nondaba. They'd studied together at UJ. And what Vukile says is he realized that this guy got along with everybody. He got along with black people, he got along with white people, he got along with colored people, got along with Indian people. And so when Vukile was made programs manager at Y by Kenthan Pillay, and they were looking for somebody who would appeal to a larger demographic of youth, Warwick's name came up. Now, Y is a teaching station, so it's not uncommon for them to get people who are inexperienced in broadcasting and put them on air. You can always teach somebody the technical aspects of broadcasting, but what you want is the innate talent. And Warwick could talk. As Marvin was saying, when he called me, for example, the calls would last no less than an hour. And it would start off in exactly the same way. "Seize my son." And then it'd go into a tirade about a myriad of topics. And like clockwork at the end, "I love you, my son." Click, end of phone call. Radio, however, is not like that. Radio is structured. So you speak for 5 minutes, you play a song. You speak for 1 minute, you take a call. You speak for 2 minutes, and you go to an ad break. Warwick didn't follow any of those rules on his first show. In fact, he spoke for 20 minutes non-stop until an OG of ours, DJ Monde, may his soul rest in peace, heard him because he was driving in the evening from a club, and he was like, even by Warwick standards, this is going on too long. So he drove to the studio, and what he found was that Warwick had forgotten how to go to an ad break. And so now he was stuck, talking endlessly in the studio by himself. DJ Monde was a person who welcomed all talents at Y with open arms. He'd been there since the beginning, so he inculcated the culture of Y into all of us. Some of us hadn't grown up in Johannesburg. Warwick, for example, was from Vryheid. Nondaba was from KZN, I was from KZN. And DJ Monde had archives of people like DJ Fresh, who's standing right there, Fat Joe, Bad Boy T, Lee, Sansa, DJ Kabzela. And he'd play those for us so that we understood what was happening when Y was formed back in 1997. Pretty soon, Warwick then became a formidable force in broadcasting. He went on to host Daytime, he went on to 5FM, he went on to Gagasi, he got onto TV, he was on Live Amp, he was on Man Cave, as of late he was on Ngceli Visa. And if you are lucky enough to be granted wisdom, you realize that fame is not to be used for self. Now more than ever, it is incumbent upon those who can and those who have to advocate for those who can't and those who have not. Warwick spoke out, sometimes controversially so. He was very opinionated. And even me, as a very good friend of his, I disagreed vehemently with some of his views. But I knew that his heart was in the right place. Warwick would even associate with individuals that I wouldn't dare stand alongside. But that was the true character of the man, in that he got along with all types and he liked to bring people together. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And a part of the reason why it does that is because people want to take action. And personally, I will prefer somebody who's got their sleeves folded up and is willing to get involved, as opposed to an individual who's standing by with the finger pointed. A story that I don't think a lot of people know, and I'll share with you. And it just, for me, goes to highlight that Warwick helped a lot of people without seeking personal glory. About 6 years ago, I got into a public argument with Jared Keenan Forbes. Warwick and I, obviously, were friends, and he knew that I'd been friends with Keenan for almost 2 decades prior to that. And he used to provide security to Keenan whenever he went to gigs. So this one time, Warwick calls me. He goes, "Seize my son. I want you to meet up with Keenan because I think you guys should talk this out." I then said, "Okay, tell him to come by himself. I'll come alone as well." Got into my car and I drove to a Shell petrol station in Hyde Park. This was in William Nicol. And Keenan and I just sat there and we spoke, and that's how we resolved our issue. I was so grateful to Warwick for that because, one, I got to reconnect with my friend before it was too late. But two, had it not been for Warwick's intervention, I would have lived with the regrets of the rift that Keenan and I had for the rest of my life. That's the kind of man that Warwick was. And so, it's with a very sore heart that I stand here before you, because I know that there was so much more to Warwick. He just wasn't afforded the opportunity to realize it. Rest in peace, my son.